Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Alchemist and the Oracle, a space where we engage in spiritualized conversations that deepen understanding, inspire transformation, and spark meaningful dialogue about life's most profound truths. I am Nicole Love, the Oracle, and I am joined by my co-host, Warrioress Ardeshir RN, known as the Alchemist.
Hello, everybody.
Today, we're getting into conversation about what's been going on. We're going to do a warrior check in to read into what is going on during these really crazy times. So, with that, let's get into it. Welcome to the Alchemist and the Oracle. And so, there's no specific topic that we're going to talk about. We don't know. I'll say this, we don't know what we're going to talk about. We're just going to take this really interesting ride, and I'll start the conversation off by posing this question around, is there anything that you see kind of playing out, or you see like a pattern, or are you having like an experience that is causing a little annoyance, that you feel the need to share?
Well, I might start off with the conversation I had yesterday. I don't know if it's a noise, but I'm looking, at a world where instead of coming together, there's still a divide. um, Also, we were talking about advancing the equality of men and women, maybe, or something to that nature, where we're looking at a still a dominance, I guess I'd want to say, or still a lack of respect of humanity at a whole. Um, um, when we look at divide or changing uh, or not understanding the value of humanity or each other in this world, for example, is, I guess, a concern in 2026, if you really want to go there. Um, um, we were talking about doing something a little different based upon a conversation that I was having with a group where we have meaningful conversations and talk about something, and I'll just, advancing the equality of men and women and how equal that we really are than not, and how the feminine is still being suppressed and downplayed, for example. And it's even more so really, really heightened in this actual moment. Um, but we get to choose how we see one another or look at one another in a different way than continues to be passed on, for example. So, yeah, that's one way. Then I mentioned a little bit about how things are continuing, even at this stage in life, are continuing to be passed on from generation to generation. And I would say that this particular example that came up yesterday isn't the only one. And I will have to give my example. And if I have, and if you haven't seen it, I'll read, because if you haven't seen the other episodes, is an example of when I was hanging out with my godson, the little ones, and things of that nature, and having to do with b-ball. Okay. In other words, basketball. And so this brings up the thing where when you're looking at the same thing, you have a 7-year-old, 10-year-old, whatever, playing b-ball, and you have a woman, such as myself, that's played basketball and all the sports that are not only for a certain gender. or have been under the masculine deal, right? So you get this is that, there's a girl playing. And so, yeah, there is. And that someone even as young as 7 or 10 would think that because I am, that I can't beat them playing basketball. So, or that, or to look at me as lesser than playing basketball, and the fact that I can take you to the hoop. So that was interesting to continue to recognize, to hear, and to go ahead and beat them, even if I might. No, I'm not going to use that term. I'm not going to use it, even though I am older than such. So I'm thinking the other episodes I might have used a certain term when it comes to playing basketball, and I would use my grandmother as an example, who took us to play tennis and all these different sports in her 50s and was beating us youngins playing tennis, for example. So I'd say age would have nothing to do with it. It's about kind of the shape and the mentality in which you are there. But and to say, grandma, and then take them to the hoop, it's just kind of, I would say, to get them to awaken a little bit and understand that that is just not a game for just men or boys or the masculine energy. Because we were talking about the equality of men and women, it doesn't have anything to decipher who can do what, just like in a job. If there's somebody and I happen to be the one that's applying for this job, and I happen to be the qualified one, or the things of that nature, and I get the job, that I should be paid the same, regardless to my gender or what's on my chest or anywhere else on my body. So,
Ooh, can I say the word? No, I won't say it.
Oh, what?
You look horrified. No, I'm not going to say
Well,
the word.
not that one. Well, the fact that I have a vagina. I mean, that should not change the fact.
Or Regina.
Yeah. Oh, a Regina. Okay, my bad. Yeah, a Regina. That's funny. That's an inside joke we got. So yeah, that's funny. So I will leave it there, and you can piggyback as you do based upon that. It's just kind of what we talked about, and how I've talked with some of my guys that I can have these conversations with, that will end up talking about in the toxic masculinity, or swinging about to the feminine toxic. What did I say? Toxic masculinity turn around into um, uh, feminine toxicity as well. So, and they both, intertwine in a circle to come back. And how we see each other is very important. And as one of my guys always talked about mindset, the thing of it is that you got to be aware that you're having a mindset, and where did you get it from anyway, and to look at it and to shift it differently. The question as how did you come to that conclusion? And the question is where did you learn it? And is it true? I'll pause right there for the moment. And how we do, is just, giving food for thought, speaking truth to power, and dealing with the facts. The truth is unchanged. Facts, well, they are, but how you looking at it now? It's just like 20 years ago is not the same as today. There's still some things that, technology ain't went nowhere. The advancement thereof it, for example. So yeah. So those are some things that have been discussed and that have come to the forefront, that I'm sure we'll go deeper into, specifically when it comes to equality and men and women. We should complement each other more so than anything else.
Right.
I see that brain going, whatever, dude. Whatever, babe. It's all good.
She doesn't like when I think and she doesn't know what I'm thinking.
It's all good.
Do you want to know what I was thinking?
Sure.
I think what I'm thinking, my mind is processing through is this whole idea of equality
Mm-hmm.
and what what does that mean?
All right.
And then my mind goes to we're all not equally the same.
Well,
And we kind of talked about this before we started
mm-hmm.
around equality and like the what the bigger issue is beyond all of this, and it's the allowance for people just to be who they are and not giving value or assigning value based on a scale that is man-made or created.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you start to qualify or quantify or identify or like capture, like you can't, I always think like you can't capture the essence of a bird. The
Mm-hmm.
essence of a bird is like free and flying high in the sky. Like you can't capture that. So it's like also you can't capture the essence of the soul either. So to me, when I think of like feminine and masculine and how it's the level of toxicity that exists on both sides, and then like how that bleeds into like gender expression and like gender roles, and then you like factor in like the culture on top of that, and then you factor in like the religious doctrines and like all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's all stuff that has us fighting for, and I mentioned this too, like we're all fighting for a seat at the table. And I have always said, like, why do I want to be at a table that requires me to dim myself, that requires me to cut a part of myself off, that requires me to pretend
Yeah.
there's parts of me that I'm not bringing into that space, or that requires me to leave those parts of myself outside of that space? Why would I want to sit at the table? And that's just the things where my mind goes. And I know I'm a very rebellious spirit by design, and I don't like to conform. I don't really want to be at a table with people who don't want me to be there either, where I have to pretend like, and I've been at those tables where you have to like pretend to get along in order to like actually be able to leave the space as unscathed as you possibly can as well. You know, a lot of it's like just survival. And I also realize that some people don't even realize that they can build another table or that they can even leave the room. So there's just so many layers to this conversation around equality, essentially. But do we avoid having conversations around something that's hard? I don't think so. I think those are the conversations we need to dig into to like see why is something that is seemingly quite simple in some terms, just like on the spiritualized, so complicated by humans. That's
Uh,
what my look that I gave you, like all of that was processing through my head at that one instance. Um,
yeah.
but we have to be comfortable with having conversations, and no matter how uncomfortable they are. And I think this idea of like wanting to constantly feel comfortable and feel good in spaces maybe is an indication like maybe you don't need to be in that space. Go find another space versus like feeling so activated and like, oh my gosh, how dare they not allow me here? And it's just like, is this really a good use of your time and your energy? It's like build the things that you want. Stop fighting against the things that you don't really want to begin with. Go build the I'm trying not to cuss here. Go build the damn table.
I heard that today.
Build the table that you want. Because guess what? There may be some people who are like, oh my gosh, she built this table. I am so in.
Platform. Yep.
Yeah, we need different tables all over the world. That's what my mind, that's where my mind kind of goes around that. Um, my mind also goes to how exhausted so many people are in this constant pursuit of like unpacking stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit exhausted. The world is like literally on fire and things are being blown up and
I said that to me yesterday. Yeah. Really exhausted. Resting.
yeah. I guess we can talk about this. We created a program because of these things. Maybe we can talk about why we created this program. Um, we'll share it.
I just want
But
to piggyback off of you when you're done, sweetie.
yeah, I was gonna ask you if you had anything you wanted to add.
Well, when you're talking about just being who we have come to a society that we need to be everything other than that for the sake of belonging. By you bringing that up, and it is still and yet a control factor, to be and to fit in, and to me that's like false. It's false. It's like lying to myself and lying to others because you think I ought to walk or be anything other than I am, or I have to think that you have to be this way or that way. And so it's about understanding. It's about respect. It's about coming together and changing a mindset that has not really served us as a humanity.
Yeah.
And there are some, I give credit to some, man, because there's a difference. Let me put this out there. There is a difference, and there's a book by Dante, and I got this book a while. I got into it, and I've been meaning to reach out to him. He's an actor. It's not so much that other than he's a human and a man. And there's a difference. And he came out, and I was like, oh my goodness. And it's titled Male versus Man. And there is a difference between being or expressing as a male than what it is expressing as a man. Also, that came around to me that there's a difference between being or portraying or acting or being a female versus what it is to be a woman. And I could go to the book is over there because if I need some, I need to give you the whole name of the person. Sometimes it just slips. But the book is Male versus Man. And I was really, really, really connected to what he was saying and the difference, and then experiencing the difference of what a person is expressing a male instead of a man. And there are certain things that a man would not do that a male would, and vice versa. So, and why that came up, and how we walk in this world, and our gender roles has an effect on one another. As we look at what's going on in this world, for example, and how how you would think anybody is any less than you. I'll leave it there for a moment. I think based upon that, there are some men, for example. Let me see. This is deep. So, I know what I was going to say. So, yes, we ought to have these deeper conversations. Because I remember in one of my sets in Toastmasters, one of our guys who spoke. Not everybody can have it, but you need to understand that you need to be open to receive first and foremost. Have the open mind or mindset to receive, to understand where someone else is coming from before, you start to go off or judge, and be open to see. So he mentioned, and it's not that I would be talking about politics or religion, depends on where you are because of how I look at it and how some things are so similar than not, but still understanding what I understand to be a control factor instead of letting be and think that you have to be this way and that way or submissive to anybody else other than yourself. Is that we should be able, he mentioned that we should be able to have the conversations around politics without somebody losing their self or going crazy and then we should be able to speak about the more too that people say don't speak about is politics and religion, right? But you need to be open to people. My thing is about faith or the spirituality of your existence, or is how it is that you are. And most of it is about the one supreme leader, however you want to identify. Again, God's source, creator, universe, that we believe in as has a higher, more different power than us that we connect to, that created our very existence, because man can't duplicate this. They can't really get close, but they can't duplicate this. They can't duplicate this. Okay?
It's the consciousness they can't duplicate. I think they can't duplicate like the skin and stuff. They have duplicated.
They've come close.
They've already done it. They've done it. Let's be real. They've done it.
Yeah. Well, there's no one other than that can be
consciousness.
You or
I, they can't.
be. Well, that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when I look at even, let's just go off into I don't know if this is the rabbit hole or not, but let's just go off into AI, for example, or a car driving for me. I'm going to tell you right now, in my bestest mindset, my bestest body, my bestest everything, even including right now in this moment, that no car or intelligence of that can drive better than I. At any given moment, no.
Any given moment?
Well, not unless I'm off kilter some kind of way, but in my best.
But that factors into any given moment. There's a lot of assumptions in that. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Well, God drive. Okay, we can go there.
I'm poking her because she does not. She gets really agitated when I talk about her driving. I'm not going to be an a-hole today.
Oh my God, no!
Not gonna be petty.
My creator has driven for me. There's no doubt that I
yes, that part.
To a higher power. That, I mean, I talk in my car. I pat my car. My car came from the earth, and so it has served me well. Of course, like anything, I have to feed me. I have to feed it, and I don't have to replace my parts, but because those are different in the salt and all the stuff. But that the parts on it has lasted a very long time. I need to, shout out to Jeep. Shout out to Jeep.
No, don't shout out to Jeep.
No, they made it through that. But I mean, yeah.
No. We're not giving them no recognition without.
The credit comes from the creator, so that's no doubt.
Shout out to God, okay?
Yeah, it is a shout out to the God.
Not to the J, to the G. Not
well, that they took from the earth and made.
Shout out to Jesus.
And they put together a good machine that I ended up, getting my hands on. So definitely everything comes from the earth is the reason why I talk to it and things of that nature. So there is a connection. There is where people think there's not life, there is, because there's life in the dirt, in the soil, in all these different things. but to
Hmm.
and to be able to honor that nothing of that could do. So I'll make the example of Men in Black. So it's gonna rabbit hole. Men in Black. So Will Smith is in the vehicle that you're not supposed to put in manual. This movie, and he's being chased and shot at, and this and that, and I relate to this so often that he goes in the manual and he's able to dodge, and he's do this where the actual brain wouldn't have gotten there. So yeah, I like that part. To actually manual to dodge to do this and to take that car to get away from the powers or the be that's trying to take him out. And he's dodging, and he takes it out of automatic into manual mode and gets away in that respect. So not as unscathed, but in that respect. And that's a movie that comes to me that ties with that in that respect. I think that is it has a great it's gonna help. It is to make things easier, not take away from the divine knowledge and experiences that you have, because you can are the only one that can express that in a way or articulate that is to serve and to help other people raise up, lift up the things that we'll mention at the end that we're doing to raise the vibration, to have you live the best life, to have you moment, and even with the setbacks are inevitable. It's how you look at them. It's like the you can look up, I think it's Charles Swindoll, about the attitude, about it's was it 90% of what happened to 10% of how you, or the vice versa, 10% of what happens to me, 90% about how I react to it, I believe that is. And I was just talking about it, and it comes with your attitude. Comes with your attitude. So, and how you respond to it is how we respond to things, for example. So, how I respond, how I do what I do, knowing that I have a higher presence of power or spiritual team that I have when I'm in the midst, and listening is the key. And so mindset does have a lot to do with how you see things, and how the laws that are just innate that you attract. The law of attraction is one of them. Some of these different things that I find connected, and hopefully you are still with me when you look at that. And it's all about me feeling the way that I do about certain things. Should we feel that way, the way I feel about driving? When I'm good, sometimes I don't go out there if I'm not so good or whatever, but to honor that, and honor and know where it comes from, along with competing. Well, yeah, do I like to win? Do I learn when I don't? That's the whole thing, is not to get crazy, based upon that. And I know that my attitude has shifted when it comes to competing, and I talk a lot of trash, and there's a reason for it. And just have a
Confirmed.
good time.
Yes.
Now, golf will humble you. Now, golf, not that I wasn't humbled already, but golf will humble you. But it's still a fun thing that I never really, I had always wanted to interested in because of my father. But it's a humbling thing. And then you get back into, that is a game where you meet different people, the talk, the discussion, because there's one, and I can't remember what one of our veterans says, that one of the all girls golf that I deal with here says about it. So it's about how you react to it, choosing to get better in mind, body, and spirit, even in reference to the chaos, because I like to use the word the chaos that's going on now, because it is chaotic. And it's unfortunate that we are part of the freaking chaos.
Well, we created a lot of it,
Yeah.
either through directly or indirectly,
Yeah, but
action
we
or
don't look at
inaction.
it indirectly.
Yeah. I don't think people don't realize the inaction part of the responsibility piece in terms of adding to the chaos.
Mhm.
Because sometimes you need to speak out, and maybe by you speaking, it halts the chaos from proceeding or building momentum around that. Um, but I think it's also important to not get stuck in it either.
Mhm.
Either
Mhm.
way.
Mhm. Mhm. Agreed. It's just like voting. I mean, we made a system, and then people say, "Well, I'm not going to vote. I'll let somebody else. I'll let them out. Let them do it." And how it is so that means that you can't really complain or say anything because you wasn't part of the change for the good of them. And like I said, the good things are still going on. It's what we choose to do.
I my I have challenges with voting. I have
Okay.
challenges with voting because
Mm-hmm.
the people we vote for, they do not honor the agreements upon which
I knew you would say, yeah, we've had this discussion.
they say these are the things that I'm going to focus on. They don't listen to the people. And so that's why a lot of people don't vote. They're like, my vote doesn't matter because I have lived it. I'm living it right now. And I can't deny that. Like,
I feel that.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't deny that. And, now people are talking about, now they feel safe to talk about like Obama and how, everyone. I remember there was a time when when a black person would say like, oh, what has Obama done for black people? They would just be
I
like,
hear that.
that is my president, da 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 da. But they never could honestly give tangible, like he did this, he did that. And I already knew there's nothing that he could have done specifically for Black people because that is not his role as the president of the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
Our systems aren't set up to help the people who vote.
Mm-hmm.
It's set up for the people who the lobbyists own our government.
Okay. Yep.
Major
Yep.
corporations, they own our government.
I learned
It's
that
about
back
money.
in the 90s. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
about money. It goes further back than the 90s. Like,
No, I'm just saying, I'm talking about my study in the class that I took.
oh, okay. I didn't
Yeah.
know what you were speaking of specifically.
My
But
apologies. Yeah.
I understand why people don't vote. But I think the bigger conversation then becomes, what are you doing to be actively involved in your community? That's where, for me, I think if you can be involved in your neighborhood, your community, and on that level, that's where it matters.
That's true.
It's not going to
Yeah.
matter at the state level. It's not going to matter at the nationwide level to the point where they can pinpoint exactly what you need. They don't know what you need specifically, mainly because they don't really give a damn.
Okay, well then.
I'm going to say it, they don't care
Yeah,
because that's
well,
not who is driving the
it's about
choices
keeping
and the
it real.
decision. It's the
Yeah,
money. The money is the driver. Whenever the
yeah.
money is the driving force, whenever whenever it's like, oh, we need to raise money. Why are we raising money? How does me giving you money to run your campaign help me? Like, bottom line it for me. And if you were to ask any politician, I've had these conversations with people that have run for office, like
Okay.
locally, and they're like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't answer that question.
Mm, mm,
Not to the point
mm.
where it would not enrage me further. Because
That's what I feel.
they know the money, they know the money trail.
Mm.
They know how the system is set up. And I think
Right?
we have to become empowered. And it goes back to like, those are systems outside of ourselves. And it goes back to like what we're talking about of empowering your life and making choices in a way that makes sense for you specifically. Like, even like
Yes.
gender expression, like, who are
Yes.
you? Get clear on what that is. What do you want for yourself? And what you want for yourself is 99% of the time not going to be what someone else wants.
Right.
And that is okay. But what has become a part of the lexicon, part of the conversation, part of the debate, the separatization that's happened is that we need everyone to be the same.
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah.
And that goes against, I'm going to say this, I feel like that goes against God. Like, how dare you tell me who I am and how I've been designed? There's something wrong with me. That goes against God. That's saying, like, I don't, like, who you created, like, is wrong. There's something wrong with them. That's why I don't think there's wrong with anybody that loves who they love. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
of legal age, let me just say that consensual, like truly, honestly consensual, like mindfully consensual on all the levels. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. No
Which is
doubt.
crazy that you have to say that.
No doubt. No doubt.
But the world is really noisy. It's very chaotic. And looking at the time here, me and the Warriors recreated this renewal journey. You know, spring is coming up and we created something because we both have kind of read into like what's going on and just kind of honoring the current season. And this process, this journey that we created is going to help support where I see as the Oracle things are going to head towards. Things are going to get really fucking weird. In like, this is going to be a wild ride of a year. Like the energy, the chaos, it's just going to build and build and build and build and build. And this is the time more than ever to get really clear on what do you want? What do you value? What do you want your world to look like? What's not working? What is messing with your masculine and feminine expression? All of those things. And so what we created was this renewal journey that helps in getting clear on like what belief you have and working with a belief and really sitting with that and taking the time and moving slow. Because what I've always find, and I can't remember her name, but she's this amazing shaman. And she says, whenever the world expresses in this way, you need to do the opposite because it brings the balance into the world. So it's chaotic. Things are moving fast. And so what we created is counter balancing that. It's very slow. It's very intentional. There's less of doing and more of just being with yourself. And we're going to share more about it. We have a masterclass that is going to be going live next Thursday. So that'll be our next episode. So that will be March the 19th at 12 p.m. And we're going to be talking about beliefs and how it impacts your body, how it impacts your life. And we'll also be sharing what it is that we created at that time. So wanted to like fit that in before we get to the end here. So we hope that you will subscribe to the channel and all of that so you can get notification of when that masterclass will be made available, and we will announce what we are working on. And if you don't want to wait, you can check out our Substack page. I'll put a link down below and you get a little sneak peek without me even having to tell you what it is. It's already out there. Just have to like find it if you really want to find it. So, was there anything that you wanted to say about what I just said? I know I said a lot.
No, thank you for sharing what we'll be doing, especially in a world where we're finding ourselves in an unfortunate, chaotic situation and not seeing the possibilities still in the midst of it
Yeah.
and the opportunity that it brings in it. And that what we'll be sharing is that and the beliefs around those things. And I more so definitely know how that is and how it affects the body. Also, I thank you for sharing what you did in reference to the things that's going on and the understanding that, and why I like to, when we have these conversations, piggyback and hit off of that, as I am in contact with a lot of people and listening and looking and just receiving, what's on the minds of others, and we get off of each other on that. And it's sad in some respects, and then, like I said, we have to look at what can be done. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
say a lot of things that there's some good going on, even just shifting back to when I was mentioning to someone yesterday about the '08, '07, '08 debacle. There was still good things going on. There was unfortunate things happening that interested around the housing market that's up because of the type of contracts that were built up, for example. And that's still similarly differently going on in our world when we're looking at each other as a humanity and a race, and to come in to respect that of one another. You don't have to understand it, but to respect one another as you would desire to be respected. That's it.
that's so huge. Like the golden rule. Treat
Mm.
others like you want to be treated. And I think if we can learn how to practice letting go of the need to understand,
Mm-hmm.
it reminds us that I don't need to understand that to know that this person in front of me matters.
Yeah.
Like we try to give so much meaning to things that don't really matter. Like it's just like I always remember, and I said this before we got like mind your business. I remember this lady like mind your business now, mind your business. I really feel like we do need to mind our business more, and that's minding ourselves. Like what we're so focused on what other people are doing that we have no awareness around like what's going on in our life. We're not taking responsibility or ownership of like how my relationship may be lacking sexually, but therefore I go out and attack someone's sexuality. It's like, oh, that's
Right.
evil and dark. It's like, also what you're
Right.
saying is there's evil and darkness within yourself around where you are with your relationship.
Right. Yeah.
So we gotta
Yeah.
stay, we have to like
Amazing.
it's just so hard seeing what's going on in the world,
Yeah.
seeing like all the death and the destruction and like the divisiveness and like just the senseless evil that is being pushed forward. And I
Yeah.
think it's do the opposite. I think of the shamans like do the opposite of that. So like what are the good things? Is there anything good that you can share? Like any goodness you've seen in the world?
Yeah. Actually, the support that people show for one another, the conversations in the gathering that I have with the people every Monday, and how we talk about how we, when I say going out in the world and kind of sharing and talking and listening and letting people speak and know that they've been heard. So when I go to my other spots here, it's kind of my getaway kind of around the guys type of thing, where I feel so loved and respected. So there's a lot of good things going on. The conversations that are had there, even still learning, and it doesn't matter where somebody is, who they are, how they live, and how they walk, and they have something to say. Uh, um, it's just like back before, real quick. It doesn't matter. Somebody, you don't know how somebody is homeless. You don't know who they are. You don't know the God in them. You don't know what they have to share to open up your mind to listen to. So even though that may seem sad, when they feel heard, they feel valued, they feel important, and because they are. It's a movie that I like that goes back to the truth of somebody who was that way, but they were very brilliant and was on a board room at one time on finances, and come to find out they had been sharing some with somebody, and eventually recovered. And that's the movie. Oh my God, I can't think of it right now. The Family That Prays, I think it is.
Ooh,
Yeah,
ooh, that movie.
yeah.
Oof,
And how a girl ended up, and how the daughter was talking about the dude who smelled, she done washed, she just had a bad
that
spit.
movie is
He was
just so
he was
deep.
feeding old girl all that financial information, baby. So, there's really good things if you go and you're looking for that instead of sitting in the bad. We have it because we are the force
The force is
that
within
make
you.
the change. Yeah, the force be with. Yeah, the
May the
force.
force be with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that Star Wars is literally like a spiritual telling in space. Like it literally is. And there's people like on YouTube that have broken it down. So if you're like interested to fall down that rabbit hole, um, have fun with
Yeah.
it. I will share something that I witnessed. My neighbor, he just got married. The noisy one that I'm always like rolling my eyes about. He got
Yeah.
married.
Oh
And
wow.
so this past weekend I was sitting in my room and it had been raining all day, storms all day, and I see this black van kind of pull up, like one of those like party buses
I have
pull
one.
up, and I'm like, what's going on? And the sun comes out, and I hear like these women kind of like, you know how you can hear like women, like the sound of like joyousness.
Yeah.
And I heard it and I was just like, oh, and they came out and they were smiling and they had these beautiful blue dresses and their hair
Mm,
was done. They look beautiful. They look stunning.
mm,
Okay. Like
mm.
really stunning. And the sun was just shining. And then like they all got on the bus and then they left. And then as soon as they left, it just started raining again. And it just
Ah,
made me realize like, wow, they opened the
beautiful
sun
energy.
up. The sun came out to allow them to be in that celebratory happy state, and it
Yeah.
gave them the space to like celebrate outside. They were able to take pictures outside, and they were able to get on the van without getting like drenched or wet, and then they
The
went on their
energy.
way, and then the clouds came back and started raining, and I had a
Energy.
wonderful rainy sun Saturday afternoon. So I
The
don't know.
color. Yeah.
It was just so wonderful to hear delight and joy and excitement and to see it and to see people happy and joyous and like the sun coming out and glistening on their skin. The dresses were beautiful. You would love this. They were royal blue.
I love that color.
It was such a
I
beautiful
love
shade.
that color blue. You
Such a
know it.
beautiful shade.
Indeed.
So the point here as we wrap
Uh,
up is to find your joy in the chaos. Do the opposite of what's going on in the world. Be the
no,
opposite of
that's my
what's in the
motto.
world. Create that, focus your attention in that. And who knows, maybe the sun will come out because you did. You did choose it. The sun always comes out. Also, the sun is always out. It's just a matter of if the clouds are blocking it or not too.
That's
I
right.
always remember
That's right.
a family member telling me that, and it was like, oh, it just shifted me as a little girl, like, oh, I didn't know, like, oh, okay.
That's what I said the other day. Yeah. Yeah, just start living your life and find, like I said, my thing is to find joy in the chaos. The little move that I did by the lake. The lake is the water is one of my happy places to be around in the movement. And yeah, start living your life instead of letting it live you.
Yeah. Yes. Go live your life like you mean it. That's a statement I say, as you probably know, and what that is. Sorry for the feedback there. I dropped my pencil. So, do you have anything else you want to say before we say goodbye to the wonderful souls that have made it this far in the episode?
Not really, just it doesn't have to be perfect, and it's something I continue to work on just because of history and things of that nature. And however you choose to live it, it's yours. It's yours. It doesn't have to look any kind of way but the way in which you create it. And that's something that I had to had to step into, had to open my mind to, had to shift that belief. So yeah.
Mm, all
How it
right,
ought to
then.
look.
Well, thanks for being in conversation with me, Warrioress Ardeshir Arin. I appreciate you.
About
Thank you for those joining us in this episode, checking in. This is your reminder, your permission slip to check in with yourself. Just check in and be honest with how you're feeling about everything and find your bit of joy. Um, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you are called to subscribe to the channel, to share, to comment what spoke to you, how are you doing? Like, how are you generally doing? Do that. And also the reminder that we have a masterclass on March 19th, where we're going to be announcing something that we have put together for the spring, that the season of spring that is getting ready to be here before you know it. That'll be on March 19th at 12 p.m. sharp. Will be in the chat for those that want to attend live. And for those that don't want to wait, the link will be down below in the description bar and you can see what it is that we're talking about. So you pick your path. Thanks for watching. We hope to see you. We hope you listen to us in the next episode. We thank you so much for watching, and until we meet again.
much love. Peace.